Yeah, I've got a list of questions here for you.
Right.
So the first one, how do calorie needs change during backpacking?
Well, you're going to be burning more calories off and you're carrying weight. So like this handout that I'm going to send you guys, there's actually a cool little chart at the bottom. So it's based on your weight, what your calorie needs would be per hour if you're climbing hills, based on how much weight you're carrying, whether you're just walking cross country. Cold weather, you're going to need more calories. You know, if you're climbing a lot, you're going to need more calories. So that handout will give you some guidelines because you are definitely going to burn more calories.
When general ballpark, is it like double what you would normally eat or about 1.5 times? What would you ballpark it at?
Good question. Let's see. Calorie needs per day, say 3 season or normal exercise output, 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day. I would say, you know, again, it depends on how much exertion. Let me see here. Moderately active, 60 minutes, 16 to 20 calories per pound. That's about, I would say 1 1/3 times more than normal calories, might be at least 30% more.
Okay.
For
All right.
moderately active. That's an interesting way to ask the question. I haven't thought about that. It's a good question.
Yeah. I just think it's important to emphasize that you bring more food than you would normally eat at home.
Yep. Yep. But you also want to be careful not to bring too much. That's why it might be nice to kind of do the calorie calculation. Just make sure you're in the ballpark. Keep in mind too, if your food does get, you know, if a critter gets into your food, you might lose some of it too.
Very true. So next question, do you have any snacks that you recommend?
I'm a great fan of trail mix. They're easy to grab, nuts and stuff. You know, things like crackers and cheese are easy. Fruit, dried fruit, good time to get some dried fruits and nuts. That's a great place for the meal bars too. Granola bars, a lot of people like to pull those out. Again, lots of times you want your snack to be pretty quick. You don't want to be sitting down, pulling out the bagel and the knife and the peanut butter and all that. Do that at mealtime. So you want something that is easy to get out of your pack that you can just open up and eat. So things like trail mix and granola bars.
Okay. I think Yogi was being a little sarcastic, but he wants to know if Rice Krispie treats count as a carb.
They absolutely do. They are a quick source of energy.
And then, so Elaine does not eat grains. How can she bring vegetables and fruit, or do you have any other carb recommendations for her?
So no, definitely fruit would be a perfectly good source of carbohydrate. And if she eats legumes, beans, refried beans, those are a good source of carbohydrate. So fruits and vegetables are all perfectly good source of carbs too. And legumes would probably be another really good source.
Okay, and then Terry was asking, in general, she's asking, in general, you need more carbs and proteins for energy. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. You do want some protein for muscle recovery. You know, they say if you're into weightlifting or anything, you want to have like, you know, 10 to 20 grams of protein within an hour or so after you do vigorous exercise to help you repair your muscles. But what your body can get energy from the quickest is carbohydrates.
Okay, and can you go over the float test for jet boils? You mentioned it, but I don't think you explained what it was.
Well, I didn't do it right. So when you buy those fuel canisters for jet boil, they actually have little markings on the outside of them. And so if you go to float the can, it's supposed to tell you, like if it's full, the can should sink more. If it's almost empty, it should sort of float. So there's actually markings on the can to tell you how to do it. I'm still not sure what I did wrong. I gotta research
Okay.
it.
All right. And then, so you covered a little bit of info about insulating your meal while it's cooking, like putting it in your jacket or in your sleeping bag. Do you have any other tips?
Hat works great. Your fleece hat. Of course, if you're wearing it because it's cold, that's a little harder. But I do know some people buy some lightweight insulating material. And you know, in a hardware store or something, you know, cut sheets of this stuff and take it with you to wrap around it. It's pretty.
I've used Reflectix and the you can buy those sunshades that you buy for your car. You can also cut those up.
Yeah, that's a perfect idea.
Let's I just wanted to reiterate, when you're doing freezer bag cooking, use the freezer bags, not the regular sandwich bags.
Good point.
And then I don't know about you, Nancy, but I always have to bring multiple flavors of something.
Yeah. And you know,
Um,
that's a personal preference thing. You know, me, I'm a plain Jane girl. I could eat the same oatmeal every morning, but some people want flavor variety, and that's an important thing to know about yourself.
yeah, I mean, I thought I liked blueberry oatmeal a lot. And by the third day of my trip, I was like, I don't like blueberry oatmeal anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And some people feel so strongly about that that they'd like rather skip the meal than eat that same thing over again. So thank you for bringing that up. That's a great suggestion.
Yeah, that can be dangerous too if you start skipping meals.
Yep. Yep.
Let's see. So next question. What popular areas are bear canisters required in?
I'm not an expert on this. I just a little bit of research I did. I know the Olympic National Park and some camping areas in the North Cascades. Casey or Dave, can you guys add anything to that?
I know John Muir Trails required. I think Yosemite.
Yeah, I was just kind of looking.
Yeah, you have to check the local regulations wherever you go.
We climbed to Camp Muir one time, and they recommended we had bear bags.
Say again, David.
You always want to check before you go anywhere. Check the Forest Service or the state wherever you're going and find out all of that stuff. You know, the condition of the road going in there and bear regulations and permit regulations. That's just all part of that pre-trip planning.
So I guess kind of moving into the hygiene questions. What do you do about showers while you're backpacking?
People have different options. You can buy like collapsible water buckets and stuff and fill them up and get a friend to help pour water over you. You know, and you can wipe stuff off you like the sunscreen and the insect repellent and then, you know, jump in a pond, but I would not take soap in there. You really need to do a bucket of water thing back in the woods somewhere. Any of you people that I've never really hiked long enough where I needed to take a shower on the trail? Anybody else want to add any suggestions to that?
So I know when we were out, I guess in the Army, they always told us to wipe down our armpits and growing with baby wipes.
Yeah. Yeah.
The longer ones.
Mm-hmm. That would work.
And then you talked about your pot scrubber. Do you have any recommendations for a pot scrubber?
Probably a brush of some sort that you can clean easily.
Okay. Are there any other questions out there? Also, feel free to unmute yourself and chime in as well.
I might add that I did buy a little plastic scraper thing. That's, you know, it's small. It's only about that big. And I kind of like that as opposed to a brush because it's really easy to clean. You can scrape anything off. So actually, that's probably my preferred thing, a little plastic scraper. You can buy them at REI.
So Maggie wants to know, I'm assuming you're talking about which meal should be heavier than the others. And she's talking about specifically regarding to energy. So do you have a specific meal that you would recommend to load your calories into?
I would probably put more calories into breakfast and lunch and kind of spread them out. Not a whole lot of point in packing your calories on before you're going to go to bed, is my thinking. Now, I think sometimes people probably eat their bigger meal at night because it's hard for them to eat during the day. You know, when you're exercising hard, it's sometimes it's hard to put a lot of calories down. That's why I think it's helpful to have meals and snacks during the day. So you're eating multiple times to get your calories. And, you know, eat close to the time that you want to burn the calories. Another thought too is for some people, it's hard to sleep on a really full stomach. I mean, I have enough trouble sleeping in a tent and anyhow, so I don't think having a really heavy meal before you go to bed at night is necessarily going to help you sleep. Any other thoughts on that, Casey?
Oh, so that reminds me, yes, for eating calories at night will help keep you warmer while you sleep.
Well, that's probably true too.
Yep. Because your metabolism will be burning them off in your sleeping bag.
So
And that reminds me to jump in and defend mountaineering school because I know where you got that slide.
don't
Um,
tell.
I won't mention any names, but so I have found it's important to bring food that you will eat as opposed to food that will just be in your pack.
Absolutely.
Specifically regarding mountaineering, after 9,000 feet, I really don't care for trail mix, but
Yeah.
I will eat a Snickers.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And I didn't mean to totally diss it. It just kind of made a point leading into some nutrition quality. Because I mean, that's the time when you can eat Oreos because you're going to burn them all off. But I think if all people eat is candy and Cliff Bars and cookies and stuff, you're not going to have as sustained of energy as if you're having a little bit more balanced meals too, with some protein and fat in there is another consideration. But
Can confirm.
yeah, but you are absolutely right that it's got to be something. And it is, there are some foods that are harder to eat when you've been exercising hard. I mean, I'm probably not going to feel like eating an apple or something. It's just going to be kind of heavy on my stomach when I've been exercising hard.
The best thing I've seen somebody do is bring an avocado that they sliced up and put into the mountain house.
Oh yeah, that would give you some good tasty calories.
And then I get olive oil packets that are about the same size as the ketchup packets. I'll throw those into my mountain house.
So you can buy pre-packaged olive oil, or you're packaging your own?
Yeah, I got it off like Amazon or something.
Okay.
You get like a 200 pack. I've got soy sauce in those little packets too. They sell them in bulk.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea to add fats to foods. I know we're so often brainwashed with this like fats are bad thing, but they're a great way to get concentrated calories when you're exercising like that.
So Laura wants to know where this picture is from.
Oh, the one behind me is
I think
looking.
the one on the slide.
Oh, the one on the slide. That's from the Alpine Lakes Wilderness. I stole it off of the Alpine Lakes Wilderness website, so I didn't look at it long enough to see which lake it was, but it is in Washington State in the Alpine Lakes Wilderness.
Okay.
Anybody recognize it?
I did not. No. I haven't been up there actually. I keep failing to draw a permit.
Ah, well, you can get in there for day hikes.
That's true. Yep. Pete and Terry are asking about how you use a bear bag without a bear canister in it, and I would say that's correct.
Yeah, they're two separate storage tools. The bear canister is probably the more surefire protection, although I have read stories of bears getting the lid off those. But that's why in some locations the canister is recommended over the sack. Bears get used to people there, and some of them get pretty smart about how to get around our tools. So two different storage mechanisms. The bear bag probably works fine for most locations, but the canister is a little extra protection.
Yeah, I would echo that. I think the bear bag is great for everywhere, 90% of locations, but check your local regulations before you go somewhere. Certain trails, certain forests will require a canister, a hard-sided canister.
And again, the part of their concern is, they don't want to be attracting animals. It's not good for the animal, but if bears keep coming into a campsite, they're going to be out there trying to trap and kill the bear. So, we want to protect the animals as well as our food.
Okay, so Laura's asking if we hang bear bags. Do you want to elaborate on the traditional bear bag hang versus the Ursack?
Yeah. Well, that picture I showed earlier is what you would definitely want to do if you just have your food in a stuff sack or something, something that's not bear protected. Ideally, you would want to hang it like that. The Ursack, the bear bag, can be tied to a tree. Ideally, can be tied to a tree just laying on the ground, and the bear's not supposed to be able to get into it in most cases. I still hang my bear bag just to be, I guess, because I'm.
Yeah, so that's the difference. If you just have a regular stuff sack, hang it from a tree, bear bag can be, tied up to a tree on the ground.
Yep.
And then Will and Yes are worried about will the bear crush your food?
I suppose it's possible if they bat around it a little bit, but most of the food you carry backpacking, most of it's, dried and lightweight, and I don't know if it's really breakable. It's not like you're going to be bringing bottles or cans or, now, again, those bags are supposed to be kind of claw proof, so they shouldn't be able to tear through the plastic bags that are inside of there. What do you think, Casey?
I definitely have a yellow spot on mine where a mouse or a squirrel or something got very frustrated about getting into it.
Ah, and let you know, huh?
They let me know.
That is too funny.
But yeah, it's Kevlar reinforced cloth. It did not make a dent in the bag. Actually, I have it right here.
Yeah, but they are pretty sturdy. I think the bear would have to stomp on it to really damage your food inside of it.
So that's kind of what it looks like. That's about how big it is. Yeah. And there are, you mentioned keeping the directions on mine at least.
Oh, that's right. It's attached.
The directions are on the tag right in here. Probably can't see that, but the tag right in here has the directions for it.
Mm-hmm.